Hello, and welcome back to Lego customer figure reviews and Lego news. Michael Casey. So, today we'll be reviewing the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man figure. So, it's a pretty good figure altogether. It's interesting how it detailed the eyes as well. Now, all parts of this, it included a mesh lining. It's not very visible, but you can kind of see it. The mesh lining all over the blue parts of the suit. Now that also is included in the eyes as well. So, now this figure does go very detailed and even includes some shading, which I'm surprised at. So, now this figure, in accuracy to the movie, it's very accurate. It's got all the symbols and web design pretty correct. My biggest gripe is that while the mask is detailed, the mask in the Amazing Spider-Man movies is a bit more yellowish. The eyes, specifically. The eyes are a bit more yellowish. So, I'd say that's certainly a problem here. I'd also have now, they, like all Spider-Man figures, have the web lining on the back. Now, they had leg printing, side leg printing, and even back leg printing, which on official Lego figures is very much a rarity for full back leg printing. Now they included, of course, arm printing and back printing, as any good custom should, but they also included side chest printing, which many even custom figures don't, due to the arms kind of covering it up. And I appreciate that this figure went the extra mile to do it. Any good figures will. Now, as I said, this figure had some shading on it a bit along the arms. See it a little bit, the shading. Now, this figure came with, like the Tobey Maguire figure, it came with a Spider-Man mask, an extra mask that goes on top of the head of the figure. Now, as I've said before, I don't like these masks. While I think the intent was probably to make it a smooth head like in the actual movies, that just goes against what a Lego figure is. It doesn't work. And I'd feel the problem is especially how it almost looks like a bobblehead, really, when you have the mask on. But they do leave it where you can easily just leave the mask off, and it works. And that's how I display it. Now, also, there's many similarities between this and the Tobey Maguire figure. This other one uses the same webs, to which I have all the same complaints. It seems like it kind of splits off later and then goes back into a central one. So I feel that it just doesn't really work all too well. Seems inconsistent. But today, as you can see, I'm in another new location, camping. I'm camping with some friends, and I'll be here, and I'll be there to get their opinion. Abby, Alex, what are your opinions?
Hello, Internet.
Alex, do you want to talk first?
Sure. I think it's pretty good. From what I first saw, it looked a little small compared to a Lego minifigure, although that might just be me. It looks pretty good, as we can see, but I do feel like this might be a little small in comparison to the real Lego minifigures.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's good. I didn't think it was small, but I could see why you would think that. The one thing that I thought, and maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention to detail, was just that, like, upon looking at it, I wasn't sure which Spider-Man it was, or like I wasn't definite on which Spider-Man it was. So I feel like if they made it a little more clear, it could have been a better figure. But I think overall it's pretty good.
Now, I'm also here with my brother Sean. No, Sean, come over. You're too far away. I can't, scooch the chair over to you.
Hi.
Hold the figure.
So, I think this is a pretty good figure. actually, I would say really good. I think it just, like, very detailed, but I do agree with, like, the extra headpiece. I think it just looks kind of weird. Like, kind of too big and weird. And, yeah, I couldn't tell what Spider-Man it was. I wasn't thinking.
Now, I'd like to get all of your opinions on the webs here. Now, I mentioned how they seem inconsistent in the way it kind of shoots out and then returns to a central web. Feels like disjointed, like they just took random web pieces and brought them in. Guys, scoot together more so I can see. So what would you say?
I just think it looks weird.
I can see what they were trying to do. I think it could be improved, but I think they might have just been trying to have something connect those two parts.
I think is without these two little beads in the middle, kind of, not beads, but circular pieces, it would have been better if this part just connected to the central web without this middle section. I think it would have looked more natural. But overall, I think upon first glance, it looks, it's recognizable. It's a web, and I think it works well.
I do think they were trying to make it a bit unique with it, like, splitting off and then keep on going, but it just doesn't look right.
Interesting take. So, I would say it more just kind of feels inconsistent as these are all just like other web pieces, but I can definitely see where you're coming from. Alex, I didn't get your take on the mask. What do you guys think of it?
I think it's slightly unnecessary, especially considering that when you take off the mask, it's just another Spider-Man mask. If it was like that and then you took it off and it was like the face of like Andrew Garfield or whatever, like it makes more sense, but I think Peter Parker, But I think that if you take off the mask and it was like a Peter Parker's face, it would make more sense, but because it's just a mask under a mask, it's kind of unnecessary.
I agree. Well, that's all for this week. Tell me if you like me with having guests, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.